Hello and welcome to another edition of The People's Rose. I'm Jarrett.
And I'm Brooke.
And we are a married couple, and this is a podcast about reality TV. Oh my goodness. This is, Brooke and I just love talking about reality TV. We love watching reality TV. We love each other. Love you, Brooke. And on this podcast, we talk about the reality TV shows that we like, which are most reality TV shows, most competitive reality TV shows, but that includes Big Brother, Golden Bachelor, all the Bachelor Nations. Brooke watches the TLC shows and the Bravo shows.
Yeah, the ones I like aren't competitive.
You don't like Big Brother and the Bachelor?
I think we've had this conversation. Real Housewives may be competitive, just in a different way.
No, but that's what I'm saying. We do talk about Big Brother and Amazing Race and Golden Bachelor. Yeah. I didn't know you didn't like those shows, though.
No, I do.
You just made sure we got to the point to say that you don't like. I was saying we like the competitive and the TLC shows. Did I not say that?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misheard.
Right. I'll get back to the intro.
Let me adjust my headphones so I can hear correct.
Anyways, for those of you still listening and haven't left, we watch those shows and we like to talk about them, or at least Jarrett does. We're going to talk about the shows we watch. We're going to have another edition of the future award-winning segment, Brooke's Buzz. Later, I'm going to figure out how to combine my love of sports with reality TV and that and more on this episode. But before we go any further, here, say what you got to say, because I'm about to turn up.
Oh, well, I just was going to say, let's call it Jarrett's Jabber.
Okay.
Jarrett's gibberish.
That's definitely not happening. I was about to turn up, but I need to.
I
gotta get in the zone again because
I harshed your vibe.
Jarrett's Japper. What is this? Is this a segment? Or are we starting a kids YouTube channel?
You said
welcome to Jarrett's Japper.
Oh my god!
Welcome to Jarrett's Japper, kids.
I think it's great.
Hold on. All right, let me get back in the zone.
What do y'all think it should be called?
Yeah, why don't you make a poll, Brooke?
I don't know how to do that.
All right, that's not happening,
What
folks.
Is this the call out podcast? You've been calling me out since second one.
Your energy. You started with that energy. You know what? Let's start over. Hold on. Don't rewind. We'll do it for you. Hi, this is Jarrett. I love my wife, and we love podcasting. Brooke.
Hi, this is Brooke. I love my husband, and we love reality TV.
All right, let's get into it. Listen, this is, as you saw in the title, we're going to talk about this week of Big Brother. And why are we going to talk about this week of Big Brother? Because it had everything we love about the show. We had a blindside, or almost blindside. We had a meltdown. We had an HOH win no one liked. We had a fan favorite go home. We had a fan villain go home. Right? How is that possible?
Yeah.
We had surprises. We just had great feeds, 26 minutes of them. This episode, we're going to go straight to spoilers. Right. We're going to jump straight to the who went home. We will cover the week, but this is the week. Rest in peace to her game. Izzy went home.
Izzy was good TV.
Izzy was a person I flat out said I didn't anticipate liking when the cast came out. But man, great TV, great feeds, great reality TV character. She was insane. She didn't make sense half the time.
As a person too, you know.
I actually don't think so. I think she developed a friendship with Sari, but I think she was bitter and weird to the very end.
Okay, valid. But she was also saying how she felt like she wasn't good enough to be on the show.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, and Sari was kind of like, I get it, Izzy, but I think, you know, it seemed like she kind of came around on that.
Right. Okay, you're right. That was a touchy segment. We'll talk about that. But really, we want to take the time to say, Izzy, you're a great reality TV show character, contestant. You were awesome on Big Brother. Well, to a certain degree. You didn't really play your game. You kind of played Sari's game. But hey, your fans love you nonetheless. You were cracked. You were unhinged. You were up in the wee hours of the morning, paranoid.
Had a lot of crying.
You were joking. You were kind of like, you kind of went in on people unnecessarily.
Yes.
But
true.
when I think of old Big Brother, that kind of like almost like, man, these people need Jesus, Big Brother.
Oh,
Izzy would thrive in that, and in
yeah.
the sense of like you throw her into season 6 where they're screaming, yelling at each other. Floaters grab a life dress. Rachel Riley, Janelle telling me, "Give me that key." You know what I mean?
Which we had a callback to this week. Remember?
Mm-mm.
Yes. So Cerise.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, Izzy, anytime, any era, any season, she would have been entertaining, and she entertained the season. It's a shame she's going home this early.
Yeah.
But them's the breaks when you play Big Brother. So how did she go home?
Yeah.
We got to start from the very beginning. Where did we leave off Big Brother last week?
Well, we saw the HOH last week, so we knew that it was Cameron, and nobody was excited. Everybody was like, "Oh crap, we messed up." So, you had typical cocky Cameron.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. Actually, we haven't even talked about his nominations.
Right, because we're covering.
So much happens in this week. Okay, so Cameron goes around telling everybody, yeah, I'm probably going to nominate Blue and Jag, which is what it was last week, or the week prior.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of this thing of, like, let's not ruffle feathers. Let's just do, like, what the house wants, right?
Right.
So he's telling everybody this, including the producers, everybody this, right?
Right.
Well, so it comes time for the nomination ceremony. And because this week is sponsored by the Humiliverse.
Oh, gosh.
This was a little bit of a different veto ceremony. Typically, they just have nomination ceremony. Typically, they just have this little, like, hey, I'm nominating you, and I'm nominating you, and it is what it is, right?
Right.
Well, this week, Cameron was to put a pie in the face
oh my goodness.
of everybody who he was not nominating. So everybody but 2 people.
Listen, when we found out it was going to be Humiliverse week, I was kind of ashamed that I watched this show.
It's cringe.
We were doing fart jokes.
Yeah.
We were putting on gas masks.
Yeah.
We had people dressing up in pig costume. Well, we haven't
actually gotten to that.
But we were just doing stuff that everyone was on have-nots. Which was kind of, probably led to some of the unhinged behavior.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie to you. This felt like old school Big Brother.
Agreed.
Because go ahead.
Instead of nominating Blue and Jag, literally everybody wanted.
Right. Well,
or didn't want thought.
Before you get to that, a reason it felt like old school Big Brother, because now they just have 2 keys. You turn the keys, it jumps on the TV behind them. This is going home. Old school Big Brother, they had this huge big device. It was a circular turning table that had keys in it, right? They would pass it around and you would turn a key. And if you were safe, so the HOH would turn a key, that person would be safe. Then that person would turn the next key. The next person would be safe, and so on and so forth. It was
the best.
Until the persons who weren't safe, the 2 that were nominated, found out that their keys weren't in this device, right?
It was the best. We missed that so much.
Right. So now this pie in the face fiasco was a similar thing, because you were saying, this is who's safe. I'm pieing you. You're safe. So then who do we find out?
So then it gets down to the last 2 who did not get pied, which was Miss Felicia and Izzy. And they were on the block, and everybody was shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked.
See, oh man, what a great week. I don't like Cameron.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This week was tough because I was about to go in. Cameron was being his typical cocky self.
Yeah.
Which was annoying.
Right.
But I can't deny I liked that he shook the house up.
That's what you want to see, right? It's one of those, you're exactly right. It's like, oh my goodness, these are my faves going on, but I didn't want to steamroll, you know what I mean? I didn't want it to just be no gameplay and no actual, strategy. So you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a shock, we got a surprise. People who were live feeding were even shocked by it. I think they were already saying how bad of a player Cameron was, but no, just like they blindsided him with Red, he blindsides the house, the production team, with his choices for who to send home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or who his nominations were, to be correct.
Right. So, yeah, so then we see them on the block, and everyone is kind of, Cirie, Jarrett, Izzy, Felicia. They're kind of a little bit, thrown off a little bit. Right?
But Jarrett did play it cool, to give him credit, which he's not going to get much of it.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Listen. This is out of order.
Oh my gosh.
This is out of order.
We can't, we have to build up to it because...
Okay, we're building up to it. If you watch the live feeds and you already know who the HOH is, then yes, then you'll understand what we're talking about. But if you don't know, wait until the end of the episode.
You have to understand the gravity of who this HOH is.
Are you talking about Cameron or the new one?
The new HOH.
Okay, yeah, we're building up to it. Okay, continue.
Okay, so so they're on the block, and they're kind of like, okay, I guess we're playing. And Cameron had said something too, like, let's play, right? So the feeds are popping off. The America and Jag are like hype.
Blue and Jag, to be correct. He had said Blue and Jag were going on. But I see what you're saying, America and Jag.
But America and Jag were talking
you're right
after about how hyped they were. Yeah. So, so then we come to the veto.
Right.
And...
So, real quick, on that Jarrett thought, Cameron thinks that he's cool with Jarrett, even though Jarrett is truly aligned with Felicia, Izzy, and Cirie. And Blue, but who cares? Blue's just
I would say at this point, up to the veto, everyone thought that they were cool with Jarrett.
Everyone thought they were cool with Jarrett, but at this point, Cameron not only was cool with them, he wanted Jarrett to win the veto so he could tell Jarrett his plan to backdoor Cirie, who, unbeknownst to him, is Jarrett's mother.
And Cameron just thought this was like, going back to Mr. Crocky, he just thought this was like the best idea ever. Jarrett was going to be fully on board. They're cool with each other, whatever.
Cameron is here to play a bros game. He wants to have a bro sidekick. He wants to be Derek and Cody. He wants to be Chill. I even think he said that to somebody at some point that they were just like Chilltown, Dr. Will, and...
Yeah, he does want that.
Right,
I think that's why they went with Chillers. Chilltown, Chillers.
I have just now put that together.
Yeah.
Don't ever disrespect Chilltown like that again. Although I'm glad I've forgotten his name. Who's the other part of Chilltown with Dr. Will?
Mike Boogie.
Mike Boogie. Oh my, he's crazy. That's another podcast. But okay, continue.
Yeah, so veto comp. We have Josh Duhamel hosting.
A little cross synergy for the Buddy Games fall on CBS.
Yeah, we're definitely getting into the we need reality TV shows to fill in time
for the strike.
Listen,
Brooke
which
and I
they're not all great. We're not going to be watching them all.
We are not watching the Buddy Games. If you signed up, if you can tune in this podcast for Buddy Games content, I
might give it a shot.
Oh gosh,
if I get desperate.
Oh no.
Anyway, I think I have too many other things to watch. But anyway, so
we have a child to raise. We don't have time for another reality TV.
So it's one of those where it's a classic, kind of. They spin, they get dizzy, and then they have to run and roll a ball and try to get bowl.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's when they get out, they get a punishment. They can trade a punishment or reward, and they can trade them and all that.
Right. It's also exactly.
Yeah.
The last person out obviously gets the veto, but as subsequently, every person that gets out after them gets to either choose the veto, or punishment.
Right. If they want the veto,
because sometimes
Matt was the last one out. But he didn't want the veto.
He wanted to hang out with
He picked a punishment, which I don't think he really thought was a punishment.
He thought he was going to hang out with the real Josh Duhamel who was hosting.
But he actually had to hang out with a cardboard cutout of him all week.
Matt, man.
I know.
Listen, it was almost a little charming that you were that naive, but come on, brother.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that veto competition. We get live feeds sometimes of the HOH comps after the Thursday evictions, which is really cool to see on the feeds. But people have always said, oh, it would be cool to have live feeds of the other comps, like the veto comps or the other comps that they have in the house sometimes. We know for certain, at least this competition, that it is boring because inexplicably, for those counting at home, that's Jarrett's first inexplicably. Inexplicably, this was a 2-hour episode.
Yeah.
The veto episode. So we saw about 40 minutes of the entirety of this comp.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, can we? Like, why are we doing this?
It was like, this feels like the raw, unedited version.
It truly
Uncut and unedited.
It was, I mean, I don't want to say cool or funny, but it was interesting to see Felicia almost pass out and die.
Oh, bless her. That would be me.
That
would be me.
Yeah, she couldn't handle it.
I'm sorry. First of all, I know I would throw up if they had me spinning like that.
Right.
Second of all, if it was hot, forget it. Forget it. I'm out. I'm laying it down on the ground. I'm out.
Yeah, I hear you. But, man, so we just saw way too much of the comp.
But ultimately, Jared gets the veto.
Yep.
Oh, much to Cameron at this point. Much to Cameron's joy, right?
Right.
Well, the punishments. So Izzy ends up with a punishment that she chooses Cameron to do with her, where they have to wear pig suits.
Yeah.
And they have to transport 2,000 scoops of mud into a pigsty.
All right, big brother.
And it literally took them all night long.
Right.
They were doing it all night, like until the sun came up. And then, if that's not bad enough, they made them put water in the mud and made them roll around in the mud.
But they actually liked that because they got to
lay down
after doing that all night long.
Yeah, for real.
Other punishment, Sari and... Okay, now we're getting to the nitty gritty. People are probably listening or like who didn't watch this week or whatever. There's some people, I guess, might only listen to us for all their Big Brother news. You're probably like, man, didn't y'all say this was an exciting week? This sounds like y'all actively talk about how boring and weird it was. Let's get into it. One of the punishments, Sari. Oh, well, actually, Felicia, her punishment was that she had to pick someone to be basically attached at the hip to in a kayak.
Mm-hmm.
She chooses her best pal, Sari. And the way it works is they dress up in kayaking gear. They have this kayak that has a bottom hole.
And when they make you wear a costume, you have to wear it. So that was a helmet, a life jacket, a kayak, and the paddle.
Right.
Or you get they punished. Had to wear that for 48 hours.
Right. And so, like, otherwise you get punished. For instance, Sari, if she didn't complete her task, would not have been able to play in veto. You know what I mean? This is, like, part of the game. Another reason, like... Okay, so Felicia chooses Sari because that would be favorable to be attached to. For anyone who's listening and wants to go on Big Brother, or just your archive, you've listened to this in the future because you want info about Big Brother. If you have to choose who you're going to be tied to for a length of time, choose the person that you hate the most and trust the least in the game. Because if you choose your ally, now y'all are attached and really can't talk game with anyone outside of who you're attached to, right? And you allow the people who you don't trust to talk without you being able to, to stop them or interact with them, right? Because you're attached to Felicia. You're attached to your best bud, right? If she had picked like a Cameron, or, well, she couldn't have picked Cameron, but like a Corey or America or a Jag, she could have stopped a lot of the craziness. But again, of course, that saved her. So maybe she's like, worked out for me.
Yeah.
But whose game it messed up is Sari's. Because Sari couldn't chaperone Jarrett.
Yeah.
And Jarrett went crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's all the punishments, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jarrett wins the veto. And Cameron calls him up and is like, hey, I'm going to put up Sari. Jarrett immediately thinks, that's my mom. That's not happening.
He doesn't say that, but that's what he thinks. You said thinks.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he like immediately is like, no, tries to shoot that down. Mm-hmm. Cameron takes note of that, like, what's going on? Yeah. Right. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm not going to use the veto, I would rather just stick with your nominations, what we got. He kind of held it over people's head to the point that all these people were cool with. They're like, Jared, why are you doing this? You're jeopardizing our games because he might put us up. Forcing them to talk. Then they started talking to each other. Then they started putting the pieces together because one, Again, Cerie's not there to chaperone the things they're saying. Jarrett says too much. And I guess here's the crux of it. Starting about Wednesday, man, what initially started it off Wednesday?
I don't know. It's like they all just kind of decided to start talking game.
Yeah, it's like a lot of players. We like literally the hour. Brooke and I were texting back and forth about how the online consensus was that Jag is one of the worst Big Brother players of all time. It's like he was awakened because Corey and him started to discuss.
Yeah, well, it really seemed like America has been on this for a while. Like, Cirie is running the house. Like, there's a lot working on there, and I really feel like Izzy is the person to get out because Izzy and Cirie are number ones. They're each other's number ones.
You're right.
And Corey was kind of like, I'm working with them, though. Like, I don't think so. Well, then he starts putting the pieces together. Right. He's collecting all of this information, and he's realizing that, he's not Cirie's number 2. This is what he said in his confessional. He's not Cirie's 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, he's at the bottom of if Cirie is loyal to him, he's at the bottom of the list for her.
And that's what happened. Corey America stopped making out long enough for America and Corey to actually talk to the people that they needed to talk to put together the pieces that, oh, wow, Cirie, Jarrett, Felicia, and Izzy are on every single side of the house, dictating every single side.
Right.
So immediately, Corey goes to Jag, spills the secret. Hey, I know about your alliances. I know they're fake. Here's the alliances that they're in, right? Jag's like, wow, mind blown.
Yep.
After because Corey, and again, America really started this, but Corey did a lot of the groundwork.
Yeah.
Corey then goes and talks to Matt. Jag talks to Matt. It's really just everything starts to come out on the own.
Corey talks to Mimi.
Mimi, right. They secure the votes. They're going to flip on Izzy because that's who they'd rather see home. That was Wednesday. Yeah. They really, if you watch the live eviction episode, it was just all day madness kind of unfolding. We had a live reporter, Brooke, who was home with her sick child, who was able to watch this.
I turned it on like right at the perfect time.
Right. And saw all of this live. So it was just crazy madness. And we've had so many flip-flops this season. It was like, is this going to stick? No, they've officially formed the coalition that people wanted to take on the Fields family. Jarrett, Izzy, and Mama Cirie, right? Mm-hmm. And they know their games. It's all out in the open. Mm-hmm. And they get Cameron on board because they talked to Cameron. I don't know how much they showed in the show, but they had serious talks with Cameron about this. And basically everyone in the house, and they didn't tell Felicia until later. Oh, they also got Bowie Jane involved, who at one point we forgot Mimi and Bowie Jane were on the show. So this is like truly they're getting everyone together and they're saying, hey, we're not going to let this game be dictated by Cirie.
Right.
If you remember, I think it was last pod, we talked about it. Riley won, right? And then Heisem tried to get rid of Riley to take over where she is. Mm-hmm. Then Felicia and Cirie took over. Hey, note to future podcasters, don't drink soda and then record a podcast because you will have to burp. Okay. Took to his place, that head of the snake, right? And then we're at the top of the house, right? But that only made them targets and they didn't really handle it well.
Right.
So now there's a full-on alliance to take on and get them out of there, right? With Jarrett to be targeted next week because Jarrett went from being on everyone's side to everyone hating him. So what they did not show in the live eviction episode happened today. Corey, we just don't have... I don't want to make this a 2-hour pod. Long story short, Corey, and I'm sure they'll show it Sunday. Jarrett makes one final lie because he figures out that Izzy is going to get sent home.
Yeah.
But he says that Jag told him. Jag didn't tell him. He just figured it out. He tells that to Corey. Corey asks Jag. Jag says he's lying. So Corey confronts Jarrett. Jarrett, this is on Thursday. Jarrett and Corey had I don't want to say shouting. They had a loud, kind of heated argument for about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours about everything. It got to the point where Bowie and Matt were in there for most of it, right? Mm-hmm. Bowie, I love Bowie. She was, as people would enter the room, she would say, oh, I can't do an Australian accent. Can I do an Australian accent? Oh no, I can't do an Australian accent. This is a weak point in my impression game.
Oh my gosh.
She says, I'm not in the fight. I'm just observing. You know what I mean? She's like had to let people know she's not. And we're like,
y'all
Bowie.
can't see me, but I'm rolling my eyes.
Oh, are you rolling your eyes? I couldn't imagine Brooke rolling her eyes. Okay, so she just had to let people know she wasn't a part of it. And okay, like good gameplay, whatever, Bowie Jane. People forgot you were in the game. I'm sorry, Bowie.
I know.
Yeah, please. I'm sorry.
We're being
Okay,
rude.
so then, so it got to Matt came in there. Bowie Jane was in there. Jag comes in there. Sari comes in there. But during all of this, Jarrett is shouting. Jarrett is an emotional gaslighter when he argues or whatever, and that's the game. You know, that's not good at it. That's not good behavior in really any context. But in Big Brother, it's kind of implied that there's going to be people who play like that.
Yeah.
Right? So he's not screaming. He's talking loudly, not letting Corey talk. We know Corey claims to be like a debater or a persuasive speaker.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He's not really good in a one-on-one argument.
Ooh.
In the sense that he might be making good points, and he did make good points. But he too much he allowed Jarrett to dictate this argument that they had, to shift blame, shift the focus of it. And if you're dealing with, observers who are smart, like Bowie Jane was gagging people a little bit. She had people on their toes with some of the points she was making.
Even though she wasn't involved?
Well, that was what was so...
Okay.
That's what made her points so good. So, okay, I digress, but like, so when Sari comes in, Sari's trying to fuse because you're seeing your son kind of blow up his game, right?
Yeah.
And Corey's game. Corey like held his ground, but I don't think Corey came out of that looking great if you're watching, right? It'll be interesting to see how it's edited.
Yeah.
I just had 10 thoughts. So Sari is trying to say like, because the onus of the argument is that Jarrett, Sari, Felicia are in every single alliance. Yeah. And they were playing everybody. And Jarrett's saying, I've been nothing but truthful to you. Right?
Oh my gosh.
And listen, when you see it, depends on how it's edited. If you see the points he's making, sometimes he doesn't make any sense. You're like, Jarrett, wow, you're caught. Then he'll say something that Corey did that was deceiving. And you'll be like, I knew he was gaslighting and was fighting for his life. And I literally was like, wait, hold on. Maybe I do remember.
Oh my
That's when I saw, like, there's a pivotal moment where we see Izzy tells Corey about the deadly sins. Corey was saying that Jarrett did in this argument. And Jarrett was saying, no, I didn't. You're lying. That's the truth. So anyways, Jarrett's loud, boisterous, whatever.
Why would Corey do that?
I don't know. Well, Corey was I think he was intimidated.
Yeah.
Which is why some people argue that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, Cerise says at some point, trying to diffuse, hey, who in this room hasn't been in a million fake alliances in this game?
Yeah.
Because everyone has.
Right.
Bowie Jane says, I haven't. And you're like, actually, that's true.
Valid.
And they're like, whoa. And she's like, no, I haven't. And
valid.
She's like, actually, when I'm doing the math, I see one commonality, one common thread in all these fake alliances, and that's you, Jarrett, and Felicia and Izzy. Ooh. And you're like, oh, no, not for Bowie Jane.
Right.
So, I mean, as you know, they evicted Izzy, and she's gone home. So the flip was successful. Corey did a lot of work with him in America to try to get them to the top of the structure and get the people out and work with people they trust.
I just don't know. I don't understand why Corey would even go confront Jared. Like,
I think he was high on his own supply a little bit.
Yeah.
And he wanted to really drive home that Jared could be trusted to make him a target.
Yeah.
I don't think because Jared literally every alliance, fake or real in this game, and if you listen or you've watched, there's been a million of them, was named in this argument. And a lot of people heard, and everything got put on the table. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of at ground zero. But it's not like they went in there and Corey walked out like Bowie Jane and said, I've been truthful this whole time.
Right.
Jared can spin it and say, no, you've just been truthful. Oh, and okay, like another thing that was a part of it, Corey is related to a person who's played Survivor before, who's on 1 week of Survivor. And that's his big secret. And that played into the logistics of the argument.
I am having residual embarrassment for Corey that he thinks that is a big secret.
And it is so lame, but it is like a secret.
Yeah.
And the house secrets can be leveraged.
Sure.
And are kind of as currency of trust.
Right.
Right. And so that was part of it was very dumb, that part of the argument. But Jarrett has the groundwork to say, no, Corey, like, yes, I deceived you, but when you found out that it wasn't that you didn't have the station you thought, or I was also doing things you didn't like. You deceived me and everyone else to get your way.
Yeah.
And that I would be pretty bad for Corey to do all of this, to do all this work, and then Jarrett end up with power this week.
Mm-hmm.
I want to preface this by saying Jarrett is kind of deplorable. This is a quick showmance update. I've kind of been on a rant here. Sorry,
Yeah,
Brooke.
that's okay.
You'll get Brooke's buzz. And he's, he's not a great guy. I can say this confidently. I hope he matures and becomes, learns a lot about himself. I wouldn't want my sons to act his way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love Suri. I'm in America. I'm America stan. When we talk about people we're rooting for, I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change teams. But I've always said that I like Suri. I liked her on Traders. Haven't seen her Survivor episodes, but I'm fully on board. I don't know what happened this week where I'm just like, I need Suri to win this game.
Yeah, that's like I think it's because she's now the villain, and you love a villain story. But this is now where we are a house divided.
Because as I was about to say, Corey would be in a bad week if Jarrett was able to get HOH. Spoilers incoming. If you don't want to know who wins HOH, well, you probably already put two and two together. And we had a wall comp HOH competition. It lasted 26 minutes. Inexplicably.
That's ridiculously
fast. Normally these have gone like hours. 5 hours before.
What is wrong with these people?
Most time you settle in, you get some popcorn, like, oh, we're going to have a HOH comp. It lasted 26 minutes.
What is wrong with them?
We have a winner. If Suri can win, which would be the best option for those of us who want to see her make it to jury, stay in the house, we had to choose a lesser of evils. And that is Jarrett Fields winning HOH. Jarrett won a wall comp. He outlasted his girlfriend Blue, Bowie Jane, everyone else, America, all the people we thought would last long. Mimi. Jarrett wins. And just like last week, where the worst thing that could, after you blindsided Cameron, happened, where he won HOH and a guy everyone hates, now is going to be the harbinger of chaos in this house. We now have the second Jarrett HOH, and I'm actually dreading that he won HOH.
Same,
but I'm overcome with excitement that this solidifies
Suri's gonna be safe.
Suri being safe.
Yeah, that's valid.
And if she can make it past the double next week, we get her for the rest of the season in the jury house.
That's true.
And I'd rather her, because Jarrett's a bigger target than Suri, so him winning now hopefully they'll target him quickly before she can save him in a double eviction instead of her.
Yeah.
And we get Suri into jury house, which is what I want.
That's valid. That's valid. I agree. I think I will say I do like Suri, and so I would like to see her in the jury house. Do I want to see her win? Not necessarily. Well, I would be okay either way, but it's just it bothers me that she is attached to Jarrett.
Well, that's what I want.
Because I don't want to see Jarrett in jury or win. I
want to see how she plays with Jarrett gone, which I expect to happen sooner or later. But this is what people, I haven't wanted to say this yet, because I haven't wanted to say this yet, but it's starting to become a reality if we get to jury. If she can drag a person who is actively bad, not just like dead weight or floater, but is like a detriment to hers and their own game to the final three, we got to start talking about her as a very solid, good Big Brother player.
I agree.
We have to start talking about her as up there with the greats.
That's true.
So these are scenarios that I'm not going to spend too much time on now because we got to wait for them to materialize, but we covered it. Let's get to the stuff. We kind of went loose form this episode because it was all emotion. This was, I guess, an episode dedicated to the way Izzy plays, right? Just emotional. But let's talk about things we always like to talk about. Let's start with the outfit check on Julie for this live eviction episode.
I'll give her an 8 out of 10 because I did not. I liked the dress. I liked the shoes, hair. I did not like, again, her jewelry. Who is picking out her jewelry? Oh, that actually reminds me of 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, gosh.
Because one of the guys from the USA before the 90 days that was going to Vietnam brought this girl pearls, and she was like, oh, thanks. And then in her like confessional, she was like, pearls aren't that special, and I really don't like pearls. She was like, you can get pearls anywhere in Vietnam. They farm them in the north and the south.
Guy didn't do his homework and ended up getting
I'm
embarrassed.
sorry, but the Julie Chen's pearls reminded me of that.
Okay. Any Big Brother house guest outfits that stood out? You know, they like to dress up for the live eviction. Do you remember?
No, they were all in sweats.
Oh, okay. Were they all in sweats this up?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. In preparation for the wall comp, which they kind of knew was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Showmance watch. Or no, let's do the nomination speeches. I thought Izzy's was good.
Izzy's was
It
good.
was heartfelt. You know what we didn't talk about was the emotional segment of Izzy and Cirie. Izzy and Cirie developed a really strong friendship.
Yeah.
It's so clear that, I mean, Cirie said she found her person, like her platonic person, which was, well, actually didn't say platonic, but I think it was implied. So that was like, you know, wow, it's people making real friendships happen in this house. Okay, showmance update. Jarrett and Blue were kind of clueless this week.
I don't even remember seeing them
That's
interact or anything.
It was like, I'm sure they were, but they were so far out of like the game maneuvers.
Yeah.
Cameras weren't on them for long, right? Yeah. Corey and America kissed this week.
America then proceeded to tell everyone that not everyone, but she told Mimi that he's a horrible kisser and he needs practice.
Coaching. But America is a girl that's clearly like okay with a build a man. Like she's like, hey,
what did Charity say? Build a man workshop.
Right. She's said like this guy needs a lot of help and I'll give it to him.
Oh my gosh.
So they've kissed, they've made out, they've gotten. In fact, just today, most of these makeouts happen, you know, in the bed and the covers because Corey, I kid you not, doesn't want his mother to see him making out on national television. I don't understand. Anyways, okay. But you know, hey, they're just a couple and that's happening. But that's it on Showmance Watch. Nothing else has developed, I don't think, right? There's not really much room unless Cameron gets a crush on Felicia or something. That's that. Okay. And then we've talked about basically everything else that's happened in the house. I can't think of anything side or funny that happened. Just again, shout out to Iz, man. Shout out to Izzy Fields, a new member of the Fields family. You are forever goated in my book. It's a shame you went home pre-jury. Let's talk about Alliance before we get on to Brooks Buzz. When our Alliance, what we like to do is talk about who we're rooting for, who we're rooting against, who we think is playing the best game, and who's playing the worst game. Brooke, you can go first.
Oh my gosh. I'm like all over the place with this right now. Who I'm rooting for, I'm gonna keep it at Corey in America. I think Corey kind of blew his game up, unfortunately. Maybe he can get it back together, but with Jarrett in power, I feel like Jarrett's gonna put up Corey in America. Now I know Cameron's still in the house and everybody hates Cameron, so we'll see how it plays out. So I'm rooting for Corey and you know what? Let me just say, wait. Okay, I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting against Jarrett, even though that's really hard.
Yeah.
Who I think is playing the best game right now.
I know.
I don't even know.
It's a rough week to say who's doing it right now.
I think America, honestly.
She
led the charge
okay.
for flipping the house and then kind of let Corey take the charge, which looks worse on him than it does her.
True.
And then what's the last one? Rooting for, rooting against.
Worst game.
Worst game. Oh, see, I don't know. Maybe Felicia. Because she can't keep her mouth shut. She, bless her heart, literally thought Jared might use the veto on her.
Yeah, she's in a bad spot.
Granted, she doesn't know she doesn't know the relationship between Jared and Felicia or Cirie.
Right.
So, yeah. What about you?
Okay, so I would say that I am rooting for America. She's from Texas. It's almost like I'm convincing myself. I'm rooting for America. as allegiance, but I think in my heart of hearts, I want Cirie to win. And that just kind of came up out of nowhere, right? Okay. Rooting against, man, I think I'm rooting against Corey.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate that he's making the right moves. I don't think he's done anything bad. I actually think he's playing a good game with the hand he's been dealt, but I don't know. It's just so clear. I think, again, this is my heart speaking. Because I want Cirie to go far, I think I have to actively root against Corey, who's leading the charge. Corey leaves, I think Cirie could wrangle every single one of these people who turned against her right back into her, except for maybe Bowie Jane because she's so emotional. But even that, I think, is possible. Okay. Best game, I'm going to say Meek McColl.
Yeah.
Here's why. America rooting for her, but she hasn't developed the trust with everyone. Mm-hmm. She has really good trust with Corey, and Corey did all the dirty work. But people, I don't think when it came down to it, it'd have to be the exact right person that America was up against for her to win the jury votes to win, based on the game she's played right now, right? Mm-hmm. Second reason McColl I still think is the best is because, one, she hasn't ruffled anyone's feathers yet, but they still need her. She's been in a lot of alliances herself, but she's not in the epicenter, so no one's calling her out of it. Right. She's finding a way to stay in people's good graces. Yeah. Without, but still being useful, without being a fly on the wall, log on whatever. But she needs to turn it up. We need to start seeing some gameplay from her and her to start affecting decisions. Yeah.
Now, she did say in her goodbye message, I got some new information, and I just clicked that she's talking about Corey told her that she was originally supposed to be left out of the vote last week with Fared, and she was like, oh crap. She actually played it off really good when Corey told her, but yeah.
Yeah, so she's in a best spot narrowly, but I think to win, she's going to have to show that she's a player. And then worst game, I agree, is Felicia. She can't win comps. Even though she has one at HOH, I think it's looking like that. If it's not like a random number comp, she doesn't have much of a chance. And she's in a bad spot with with Izzy. With Cirie, the very people she's supposed to be working with. And the other side might need her, but it's only as a number. I don't think they genuinely want to work with her. So it's going to be hard for her to play a winning game at this point.
I'm going to need some more people to step it up and start winning other than Cameron and Jared. I'm over it being the Cameron and Jared show. Let's get someone else up as HOH.
What's funny about it is they got rid of Riley, Heisem, and there's someone else I'm thinking about. But those two, who probably would have won comps this season, who were looking like they were going, and they did win comps early, and now there's this kind of vacuum of the only other people who can winning all of them.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're gonna see, but we could talk about Big Brother forever. Brooke's buzz is coming up, so we're just gonna have to, put a bookmark in Big Brother. And if you want to talk to us more about Big Brother, join us on Big Brother subreddit, the hashtag BB25 on social media, because we'll probably be talking a lot about it with these crazy feeds this week. And now what everybody's been waiting for patiently, another edition of Brooke's Buzz. Buzz. Brooke, what do you have for us this week on Brooke's Buzz? We're excited. What's going on?
Pull out my handy dandy notes. So, since we're really only doing Big Brother right now, I'm really heavily leaning in towards TLC.
Okay, we got another TLC edition.
So, I have caught up on 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, which is airing currently. And it is it's tough. It's a toughie sometimes.
The Other Way is tough.
Sometimes it's a tough watch. Yeah, there's a lot of culture shock that's happening.
Right.
So not to say that doesn't happen when they come to the U.S. too, because it definitely does. But
right.
I think a lot of times these people like do not have any idea what they're going into.
Oh, okay. The other way is when the people go to their country as opposed to the U.S.
Yeah, so it's like the U.S. citizens are moving to the other countries.
Okay, gotcha.
So there's really only one couple that I'm like really invested in, and that's Mary and Brandon.
And this is a current season? Or are you rewatching?
Yes, no, this is airing right now.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's not true. I'm invested in another couple too. I just can't remember their names. But for right now, we'll talk about Mary and Brandon. They're both very young.
Yeah.
He's had a rough life.
Where's set the stage? Where's she from? Where's he from?
So she lives in the Philippines. Can't quite remember where he's from in America. But well, yeah, USA.
Yeah.
But yeah, he decides to like uproot everything and move to the Philippines.
Okay.
And they're very young. They're very seemingly in love. I mean, it might just be like an infatuation, but TLC sets the stage up where they're on the phone 24/7. Okay. Like at one point they showed us like him going to the bathroom and her being like propped up. It was a little too far, but yeah, that'll tell you.
Right.
They're literally on the phone 24/7 and she gets like insanely jealous.
Yeah.
He's flying over to the Philippines to go be with her, to change his whole life. Yeah. Mind you, he didn't have a lot going on in America.
Okay.
He wasn't really happy. He had a rough childhood. He was separated from his siblings at one point. Like he had to live with his dad. His siblings had to go into foster care. So it was a lot, right? His mom was a drug addict, and he also had a really serious relationship where she cheated on him. And so he was ready, right? He's like, there's not really much for me here in the U.S. I'm going to go to the Philippines.
Okay.
So while he's on the plane flying to the Philippines to move,
right,
they're showing us like screenshots of these texts between the two.
Yeah.
And she's like, if you're sitting next to a girl, it's over. Don't even worry about coming here. And it's like, I don't know. Okay, in her defense, I don't know if she knows that you don't really pick who you sit next to.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But at the same time, like, slow your roll. He's on his way to move there.
Right.
He can't really just like bail now.
Now, is this self-sabotage? Is she just looking for a last second reason because things are changing fast and the best she could come up with, what? There's a girl on the plane? What?
You know, I don't know, but once he does get over there, the jealousy thing really does become like a bigger, like she has some really deep-seated issues. And you know, she even said it's because I was abandoned by my parents when I was a kid, so it's really hard to trust people. But like, she really needs some therapy. Yeah. Like real big time therapy.
Right.
And you know what? He does too, because he also shared that he went through a lot of stuff when him and his ex broke up.
Yeah.
So, you know, there may be a little bit of codependency thing going on, but I just really am rooting for them. Well, I want them to make it work.
Let's say they moved to Houston and they're looking for some counseling. Is there anyone you know or recommend?
Yes, I will be the counselor.
You're a counselor. Okay,
totally
cool.
Open to it.
Yeah.
Would love to work with you guys. Let's do it if you move back to the U.S.
Okay.
I actually really was wondering what therapy was like in the Philippines, if they even have it, if they know about it.
I'm certain they have therapy and
but
counseling.
There might be like a big stigma attached to it.
You're right.
There is here too.
You're right.
I don't know. So anyway, I really like them. I'm rooting for them. You know, this might be getting a little out of PG territory, but she lives with her grandparents, and her grandparents were like, he needs to ask us before he can kiss you. and hug you. Well, she didn't tell him that. So when they first met at the airport, they were like hugging and kissing. And her brother was like, her brother was there and she was like, you need to stop. You're misbehaving. So they did. And then they got to the home and her grandpa was like, what'd y'all do when you first saw each other?
Oh my goodness.
And he was like, oh, we just, met and then came here. And she's like, I'm really glad that he didn't tell them. And then she was like, well, then it came time for bedtime, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, she was like, if you have to ask them if you want to share a bed.
Yeah.
And so he did. He asked, can we share a bed? And Grandma was like, sure, but you can't make love.
Okay.
So, of course, he was a little disappointed. I say, of course. He was a little disappointed.
Now,
she
are they all
already
sleeping in the
knew
same room?
They're not all sleeping in the same room.
Okay.
They have a private room.
Okay, so, I mean, the cameras didn't go in there. There's no way to verify that they did heed the grandparents' orders, is what I'm saying.
The cameras went in there for a minute.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's not like grandma, and maybe they did. That's what I'm asking. Did grandma and grandfather constantly check? You didn't realize this was going to be Brooke's buzz, huh?
Right. I don't know. But I will say this. She did say on the show that she is a virgin. And she said, I am not ready to have sex with you yet. And he said, okay. That is okay. I respect him for that.
Yeah, I appreciate the respect and the boundaries. I'm pretty sure the Philippines is there's a strong Catholic.
Yes.
They're very Catholic in the Philippines, and not just like American Catholic. They're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like, well, I take that back. I apologize to any of our Catholic listeners.
No disrespect.
No, but I mean, I think they really heed a lot of that, especially the older generations.
Well, it's interesting you say that because she is Catholic, and that's another thing they do is they go to her Catholic church. And she's like, it's important to me that we go to church together. And he's like, he's not fully on board, but he's open to it. And it's also hard for him because he doesn't speak the language.
He doesn't speak Tagalog, and he doesn't. Is he a Christian as well, or no?
No.
Okay, well, he'll learn a language, learn about God,
Yeah.
This will be good for, what's his name again?
Brandon.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure either, what their plans for marriage are, but he's there. Okay. He's living there. I'm rooting for you. Keep going. Okay, so next up we have 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. Okay. Now, this is also airing, but I'm not caught up yet. I probably will be by the next time we meet. Episode 1 comes in with a bang. Okay? We meet Tyray. Tyray is in a relationship with this girl, this hot baddie from Barbados.
Where's Tyray from?
Jarrett, I don't know. The U.S., but I don't know where.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Is Tyray boy, girl, male, female, old? You know what I mean? Is he older?
Where he's from.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I would like to know. I don't know anything about Tyray. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's like 33, African American, no family.
Good job, bad job.
Doesn't work because he takes care of his mom who is sick.
Okay, now we know about Tyray. What else?
He's also very, keeps to himself, doesn't really go out much.
Okay.
So, we meet Tyray. He talks to us about his girlfriend, Carmela. And, they're building it up. They've been talking for 4 years. They haven't gotten a chance to meet yet because money's tight. And then we find out that they have only communicated through Snapchat for 4 years, every day.
Yeah, you talked to me about this.
And then we find out.
So our catfish radar is already up because, okay.
So then we find out that they haven't video chatted, right? And so I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, these producers are dirty for doing him like this. They know good and well that these are all the red flags. Like, this is not real.
Right.
Okay, so by the end of the episode, the producer, they break the, what's it called? The fourth wall?
Mhm.
The third wall? Fourth wall.
It's the fourth wall.
Fourth wall. And they're like, hey, we gotta talk to you. Like, we don't have to air this, and but I have to tell you something, and like, we don't even have to use any of the footage that we've made prior, but we're pretty certain that you're not talking to the girl you think you're talking to.
Right.
And we're pretty certain that it's a male. And poor Tyree, he is very sad, of course. And he's also, like, not able to take it in. Like, he's not able to...
That he's been catfished.
Yeah. Like, he's not able to fathom that.
Right.
So then they proceed to kind of tell the story of him finding this out. You know, shout out to his sister, because she comes into the picture and she is so sweet to him.
Yeah.
Helping him, like, try to see and understand and know, like, dude, it's okay. Like, it happens. But yeah, I'm not to the end yet. So I don't know, and it's still airing, so I don't really know where it's gonna go. But it turned into an episode of Catfish.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to love Catfish back in the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my before the 90 days update. Sister Wives, I watched it, but the episode was just... It just was draining.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say about it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. In the Real Housewives world.
Okay, we're off TLC.
We're off to TLC. We're moving into Bravo. Real Housewives. Update on Jen Shah from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Okay,
if you don't know, Jen Shah is locked up.
Right.
Okay, she got into some trouble with the law. Scammed old people, took money from them.
Yep.
So now she's locked up, and guess who's in jail with her?
Who?
Elizabeth Holmes. None other than Theranos Queen. Another scammer. And guess what? E-News is reporting, People is reporting that they have buddied up in jail.
Of course they are. Because
they're buds.
Think about oh my gosh. How did I not hear about this?
Yeah.
Okay. This obviously makes sense. Jen Shah is like clearly wants the fame, wants the attention.
Yeah.
Right? So she wasn't just gonna, I mean, I guess if she had no other choice. If there's another famous person in jail, she was gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe us celebrities are in jail, right? She's gonna network and make connections. And then Elizabeth Holmes, maybe one of the most scammiest scammers of recent memory. Of course. Like, I think she...
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I also would like to say that they're in Bryan, Texas. So if we want to...
Bryan, Texas? Where's that?
You don't know where Bryan, Texas is?
Where's Bryan, Texas?
Right by College Station.
College Station? Where's College Station?
Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, but if we wanted to take a little road trip, podcast on the road.
To prison?
To go visit the gals in prison?
In prison.
We could. Do you think they're accepting unknown visitors?
I think as we're labeled the People's Rose, this could either go one of two ways. We go and... No, I'm not even going to make that joke. No, I don't want to take a road trip to Bryan, Texas to go to prison.
Dang, okay, fine.
I mean, I'm sure there's tons of other stalkers that will do that, and I don't want to get on an FBI watch list.
I mean, valid. Right? Okay, fine. Okay, scratch that. But yeah, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has started a new season, and I'm very curious to see what it's going to be like without Jen Shah. I just haven't watched yet. But
okay.
By next, I'll report back.
Okay.
Because I know you're all waiting with bated breath.
You know what? For the people, what did I call it? The Venn diagram of people who watch what am I saying? TLC and listen to this. This has been very informative. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
And we got some Jen Shah sprinkled on top.
Thanks.
If anything, I have been educated on all the stuff I missed. This is actually a good way for me.
I know, to get the cliff notes.
To get the cliff notes, because this is why we did this.
I
Because
know.
this is what we do anyway, is talk about the stuff I missed, and that way when I do come in and watch half an episode with you, you just go bam, bam, bam.
Exactly. You're like, oh yeah, I remember you talking about them. I remember you telling me about them.
For the guys who are listening, you know what I mean, whose wives watch these shows, this is what this is for. Brooke's doing you a service. Go. She's giving you the lowdown so you can walk by and be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? What's that guy's name? Is Tyree, even though he's being catfished? And she's like, oh, how do you know? Brooke's buzz on the People's Rose. Thank you, Brooke.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Any more buzz this week?
I think that's it.
Okay. That's it for Brooke's buzz. Like I said, I don't have a segment, but we'd like to throw in some other reality shows we watch, which at this moment is just Project Runway, which ended last week. You know what I realized?
What?
We released this episode now on Friday, right? And Project Runway comes out on Thursday. So we talk about episodes that are a week old at this point. I kind of knew that was happening. Yeah. But yeah, Project Runway ended a week ago, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
So just really quickly, what do you think about the winner, Bishme?
I thought he was great. I thought he did great all season. I really feel like now looking back, they really were setting him up. Like they gave him an edit, like a winner's edit.
Week 3, I mean, he has a very inspiring story.
Sure.
His sister passed from cancer maybe a couple months before he got on the show. So he was thinking about it, dedicating his competition to her. He was giving and making great looks. So it wasn't undeserved. I do think his finale was a little... But you're right. I think we both said like episode 3, we're like, okay, Bishme's definitely gonna win.
Yeah. You know, the thing I don't like about it is that when they do a regular season, they do they go home and they have like 3 months and like thousands of dollars to create a collection. Right. And they're so much better than All Stars when they have like 8 looks in 8 days.
8 looks, 8 days. It's not Fashion Week. It's really just, it's kind of, I would say, I want to call it watered down, but it's definitely not what you typically expect. Right. So I think the looks kind of suffer from that. You don't have months of creativity. You've got hours. Right. So you're right. We can hold that. We can't hold that against them too much. But I do think Brittany, who's from Austin, Texas, go Texas, her like leisure-ish, close to high fashion attempt, she's going to be successful somewhere. And I liked her. I think she deserved to be there. Laurence did a great job.
I mean, she is like her stuff looks rich. Like, I feel like she could get in to...
For those watching the video, we put Brooke's Buzz on YouTube as well. You've seen me looking and watching my fantasy team. The quarterback for my fantasy team is going off right now. It's a little behind the scenes. This is Brooke's Buzz, but it's about Jarrett's fantasy right now.
Say, this is the one thing that we do not see eye to eye on, and that's football.
Listen... Not to derail the show, but you want to know what the ultimate reality
TV
show is? American football.
No.
NBA basketball.
Listen,
Major League Baseball.
I forget that football even exists until September rolls around, and then I'm like, oh,
you want to talk about reality storylines? Sports. Oh. You know what? Oh, my goodness. After Brooke's Buzz, we're going to get a Jarrett. Oh, I got to name it a segment. But... we are going to get a reality sports segment. I'm going to take... Yes. I'm going to give you the drama.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that. I have never needed our listeners more than I need you right now. If you would like to hear... It's not even going to be long. If you would like to hear a 2-minute rundown of the drama of the sports world from the last week...
I would be okay with it if it was behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the scores because I know the scores.
Oh, okay.
People who come to us aren't going to want to know the scores because they're listening for it, right? But if they're just like, listen to this. Just like you're giving me the rundown on the drama.
Okay.
If you listen to the People's Rose and your husband watches sports, right? I'm just 2 minutes of your time. I'm gonna tell you all the behind the scenes drama. So when you walk by your husband on a Sunday, or your wife, women like sports, but if you walk by your spouse or your partner while they're watching sports, and you'll see someone that Jarrett's talked about and his reality sports segment, and you'll go, "Oh, really? I know the drama there." Your spouse is just gonna walk up there and make out with you instantly because
oh my
you've
gosh.
shown the dedication.
There's some deep-seated dreams in that. But okay. I can handle that. Like you'll say give us an example.
Okay, so again, I don't want it to be long because this is a reality podcast. But let's see, what's the most dramatic thing that's happened from the past sports and the sports week? The most that I can think of, and this isn't really that even juicy. No, you're right. That wouldn't work. Okay, it's a work in progress. It's not a guarantee to, for lightning to strike immediately.
I have some sports news.
What's your sports news?
I can't
wait to hear this.
You're gonna kill me. Savannah Chrisley from Chrisley Knows Best is dating some football player whose wife tried to murder him. Shriver?
No clue.
You don't know?
No clue.
Oh, sorry.
Now, how is
Savannah?
Is Savannah Chrisley the daughter? Because aren't the parents in jail?
Yes, it's not. Yes, it's the daughter.
I was about to say, okay. But you know what? That's a good angle. Maybe I approach, because there's always some reality TV star trying to date an athlete.
Yeah.
For instance, Hannah G from Pilot Pete season is dating an Eagles football player. Who's playing the Eagles right? Who are they playing right now? The Eagles. I'm watching them on TV. Maybe that's the angle. I find every reality star.
I'm interested in that.
I find every reality star that's dating someone from the sports world, and I tell you everything you need to know. This is a synergy of the two worlds, sports, reality TV coming together to make a beautiful segment on the People's Rose. You saw it here.
You heard it here first.
This is where it happened. This is the birth of a segment.
This is the only podcast where you're gonna get it all.
You're gonna get it all. I actually saw. I'm not gonna even talk about our competitors, but I actually saw a podcast where they're talking about sports from a different perspective, but they're not talking about reality TV. This is the only podcast where you find out that Jarrett's winning his fantasy matchup and what's happening in the world on TLC.
Okay.
How does that sound?
I think, what more could you want?
I'm pumped.
What more could you want?
I'm pumped. Let's record our next 15 podcasts right now.
Now, we do need to go back and revisit what I was saying about Project Runway.
Okay.
I don't even remember what it was.
No, go ahead. I was joking.
No, I really don't remember what it was, except for that I did like all. I was saying Laurence. I feel like she really could, like, luxury high-end leather jackets, leather pants. Like, she is she would be perfect for that. Like, go to some, like, I don't know, the richest of the rich.
Yeah, maybe custom tailored leather
like
pants.
She's killing it in that. And
You're
so
right.
that'll be great for her. Brittany, I loved Brittany's collection. I love Brittany. I mean, look, maybe I'll buy some of her. What?
You're just making a declaration of love for Brittany.
Okay. Well, I might buy some of her stuff. I don't know. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, her husband and her live in Austin.
Yeah.
So maybe on the road trip to stalk Elizabeth Holmes and Jen Shah in prison, we swing by Austin and stalk some more reality TV stars. Let's just get on every watch list we can.
Let's do it. Let's do it. No, but also Bishme, I really can see him, like, designing for the red carpet.
Oh, he definitely will.
Yeah.
He was really close to Christian Siriano.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I could see him having a similar, although probably less successful career.
Sure.
Christian Siriano is like one of a kind.
The most successful from.
Right, but Bishme could follow that path in his own way.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we had in addition to Brooke's Buzz this week.
I think that's
this has been a pumped episode of the People's Rose.
Pumped up.
I'm sorry for going crazy because of Big Brother. We got a full range of emotions from this past week. But that's just a love and dedication that the Johnsons have for competitive reality TV. And if you enjoy hearing seeing that dedication to reality TV coverage, continue to listen, watch, subscribe to the People's Rose. You can listen to us on any, oh no, we're losing Brooke, on any podcast service that you like. We're there. You can watch us on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We're really kind of doing too much for the reach this show has, but we're going to continue to do it.
We're going to keep it up.
And if you like it, please rate and review us on your podcast apps. It really helps us out. And we hope to hear from you. No. Well, yeah, sure. Reach out to us on social media, but we hope you hear from us next week when we drop another episode of the People's Rose. We're getting close to Golden Bachelor, so we have that to look forward to. We're getting close to Bachelor in Paradise. We have that to soldier through.
Whatever.
But we just thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace and blessings.
Yeah, right. The Lord bless you and keep you.
Wait, but do you remember that video? Peace and blessings.
No.
Oh. It was like a viral. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Turn it off.
Bye. Before we